As the nation's debt crisis has reached a boiling point in recent months, President Obama has been fond of telling us that what America really needs to get out of this mess is a balanced approach that would combine spending cuts and tax increases.
This balanced approach asks everyone to give a little without requiring anyone to sacrifice too much.
On first blush, this may sound like a reasonable compromise to many Americans. But don't be fooled by the president's deceptive rhetoric. Cutting spending and raising taxes are far from equal when it comes to their effects on the American people. Let's begin with some basic economics. Mr. President, you might want to pay attention to this part. Every dollar that the government spends is one fewer dollar in our private economy. That means that instead of buying goods and services that people actually want, it goes to whatever pet projects win the favor of politicians in Washington. Of course, much of this spending is necessary. We certainly don't begrudge the federal government spending what's necessary to have the world's best military, an efficient judicial system, or a secure border. But as we all know, much of Washington's spending is wasteful and unnecessary. And particularly at this time of economic suffering, we don't think that the solution is to take even more money out of the private economy to pay for those boondoggles. We think the solution is for government to cut the waste and return that money to hardworking Americans. So where does this money go? First, it goes to pay the exorbitant salaries and benefits of government employees. While the rest of the nation is getting by on less, Washington is in the midst of a feeding frenzy. Today, the average federal employee's compensation is more than double what private workers make. And the government isn't responding by trimming the workforce either. One recent study revealed that federal employees are more likely to die than be fired. Then there's the sprawling number of federal agencies that most taxpayers don't even know exist. Did you know that Washington has huge full-time staffs devoted to tasks like an administration on aging, an agency to market hydropower, an office of community planning, and an agency to administer retirement benefits for railroad workers? It's not a balanced approach to keep wasteful government spending like this on the books while asking Americans to endure bigger economic hardships. The government exists to serve the people, not the other way around. It might be appropriate for President Obama to propose new taxes if Washington couldn't meet its basic responsibilities. But as long as it's throwing away billions of dollars on overpaid employees and unnecessary agencies, we're not giving in. It's now time for Washington to get by on a little less. The American people have been doing it for long enough. That's this week's Freedom Minute.